Hello everybody, this is Kent Glover and you're watching Johnny's Garage.
Back in the late 20th century, there was a place that created champions. A place that made men. That legendary place is talked about today. That place is...
But yeah, everything changed, man. This is a cutthroat business. I heard somebody say one time, hey, if it wasn't, if you ain't been stabbed in the back, you will be, and I've been stabbed. I'm sure every one of y'all. I know John's been stabbed in the back. I don't know about you, but But it's a backstabbing business to be such a I considered it like the Shriners or the Masonic Temple. It's a brotherhood. It's to me, and but it's just rampant. Look at the. I'm just waiting for them. I haven't watched this last Monday Night Raw, and I didn't. I guess I missed. I think I watched Saturday night, but I believe Jey Uso lost that heavyweight belt to Gunther. I'm pretty sure he did, and I just kept waiting. They come out there with that yeet stuff. What in the world, doing this little hand jobs, I'm like, man, come on, man. I was waiting for everybody to start chanting, "Ooh, so ugly, ooh, so ugly, ooh, so ugly." But the ones that's getting the push up there are Rock's damn family, or cousins, Roman Reigns, damn. You got Roman Reigns, you got all of them Samoan or those half, or I call them Samoans. They may not be Samoans. So,
he's Samoan. That was Ecky's nephew, Roman Reigns. I remember Roman was a little kid, man, coming to the shows with Ecky, and so he's at least a third generation wrestler.
Oh yeah. Well, his dad The Rock's like a third or fourth generation too. That Rocky Johnson, and then that
Chief Maivia.
And then there was like a couple of them. I'm surprised Rock didn't get that daggone head of the table job or whatever. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because his daddy wasn't Samoan.
He'd have to take a pay cut. So if The Rock took that job, he'd take a pay cut. He's a mega movie star now.
Yeah,
he does big blockbuster cinema now.
Oh man!
So do you remember Chief Ironclaw?
There's been 2 or 3 chiefs. I've wrestled with Chief Wahoo McDaniels. I've wrestled with Chief Lillian. I've wrestled with a Chief Jay Strongbow. I believe it was Jay Strongbow.
Jay Strongbow, yeah. How about Ironclaw though? Ironclaw wrestled down in the Mobile area, and then he went over to Japan. And it was him and Don Fargo were always teaming up.
Yes, sir. I remember the name Don Fargo, but I don't so much know them as and I can't really tell by this little picture if I'm looking straight into it or if my head's turning sideways and everybody's having to see the side point of my head or something, because I tried to hook this thing up to my laptop and I couldn't get the daggone thing to link up, so I knew the source on the phone. So
Oh,
man,
you're
this
all right,
You're
man.
good. You're good on your
this
phone, Lee. You got to remember, we got to be able to hear you. As long as we can hear you, you could look at the women walking down the street.
ain't nobody looking around here, man. I'm staying in Hillsville, 30666. Right. I left Crackworth and moved to Hillsville.
There you go.
I mean, it's just, Ashworth, Georgia used to be known as Crackworth, Georgia, which was just about 12 miles north of Marietta. And now, I screwed up, man. I screwed up, man. I was married for 35 years, had a girlfriends in every damn town. One girl, she's wanting to have a damn child I've been seeing for 30 years almost, or 20 something years at the time. Now I've got a soon to be 13-year-old son with another woman. And wrestling is not the business for a married man. I mean,
No, it's not.
no, man, there's so many, you pull up into the gymnasium or auditorium or civic center, wherever you're at, and there's somebody there waiting for you to come right over and grab you by the arm and take you around back. Man,
Yep.
women would call and say, "Hey, if I come up there, will you just take me out there in the back in this?" And you're like, "Man, you think men were bad? Women are way worse than any man I've ever met, man."
Let me tell you something, Lee. My son wanted to follow in my footsteps. He's fully trained. He's a fully trained, not just wrestler, but I trained him in hooking too, the way I was trained. So this boy knows his shit inside and out. He won all state every year he was in high school, and he is dynamic. And when he wanted to get into the shows, I told him no, because I knew he wouldn't get hooked on the drugs. I knew he wouldn't get into the alcoholism, but I also knew that them women would eat him alive. And that was why I told him no. He needed to get a little bit more mature so he could get away
Well,
from them damn women.
hell, I mean, that's smart. That's smart of you. The next thing you know, I know 2 or 3 months down the road, you'll have 3 or 4 women saying, "Hey, I'm pregnant with your baby." Now you
Yes.
ain't got just one, but you got 2 or 3 of them. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
women are way worse than men at any day of any time. And I'm sorry, women. Women out there that's gonna be watching this, but when a woman gets her mind set on a man, she's gonna go after that man 100%. And she'll
There's
take her
only one
family.
thing worse. There's only one thing worse.
What's that?
That's a wrestler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
I'm gonna throw a disclaimer. I'm gonna throw a disclaimer on this, just so we don't offend everybody in the world. We're talking about ring rats in particular that follow the wrestling shows. We're not talking about your mama, okay? Y'all calm down. So go ahead, Lee.
We're talking about before y'all was even born, man. We're talking 35 years ago, 20 years ago. We're talking about back when the houses was drawing 1,000 people, or 4 or 5, 600 people on every event, every weekend night. Not when you go out there for a show and you get out there and there's 8 or 10 people sitting in the auditorium, and every one of them's family of whoever's booking the show, or guest of one of the talents that's
Yeah.
supposed to be out there. They didn't sell the first ticket.
Let me ask you a question. What was the largest audience you ever wrestled in front of?
WWF, either in the Sun Dome in Tampa, Florida, or at the West Palm Beach Civic Center, where I wrestled the Undertaker, Papa Shango, and the model Rick Martel on those 2 shows. I went down with Mike Jackson, and man, that was, man, he loaded like 8 or 10 of us into a van. We went down. he got double receipts on everything, so he'd have receipts to be able to come back, have money to get back on. When he got a hotel room, he got one hotel room. He pulled the mattresses off the bed into the floor. You know, some of them even slept in the van. You know, man, I'm not sleeping in this mess. And you know, it was a horrible trip. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you now, the WWF is. I mean, I've never been to an arena or to an organization that's as well prepared and as good as the WWE or WWE now. I mean, you go in there, they'll have a big, huge buffet about 30 or 40 foot
Mhm.
long in L shape. You know, it's in there all day long if you want. They've got two barbers sitting there in barber chairs, hairdressers to be able to do people's hair, shave, makeup, do whatever. They've got two or three seamstresses sitting there with sewing machines in case you need to have an outfit fixed up, or if you need to have an outfit or even be made, I guess, if you're under contract and you're having stuff being made. So, you know, that's probably the largest crowd. The next largest crowd was in right for Bambi, and that was at the Peddler's Flea Market up in kind of north Georgia, up towards Helen, I guess, up 400 ways, kind of heading toward Dahlonega and where Pendergrass is at. And she had Jake Roberts, Dirty Dick Slater, Medusa, Greg the Hammer Valentine. Um, uh, who was Medusa's wife? Medusa was married to who? Is it Greg Valentine? Or it wasn't Dick Slater. It was Greg Valentine, was it not?
I think it was Greg. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So,
everywhere Greg went, Medusa was with him.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, Medusa was there. Greg the Hammer Valentine, Jake Roberts, Rock and Roll Express. Um,
Did they
I
have
wrestled
Sherry?
um,
Was Sherry there by chance?
Sherry Martell.
Yeah.
No, no, sir, no, sir, no,
I
sir.
worked several shows with Medusa, but Sherry was always the one wrestling
Yeah,
at the
no,
time.
no, no. She didn't work. She was just like a valet or something. You know, Bambi. Normally, everybody around here in Georgia has always seen Peggy and Peggy Lee wrestle, and that's all they ever seen.
Absolutely.
For that particular event, she brought in Leilani Kai. I believe it was Leilani Kai,
Oh,
and
heck yeah.
She come in to wrestle Bambi on that event. So you had Bambi against Leilani Kai. You had Greg the Hammer Valentine against, I think, Jake Roberts. You had Rock and Roll Express against, I'm not even sure who they wrestled, but I know that they were there because we all were sitting up selling gimmicks, selling T-shirts, and our T-shirt sales, you know, as y'all know, we don't try to cut each other's throat. If you're selling your pictures or photos for $5, well, photos are $5. Instead, I'm not going to sell my little 35, my camera prints and so forth, and sell them for $3 just to sell more of them than you do, because
Yeah.
you may be selling a gloss copy of an 8x10, or something.
Hmm.
But but she had about 3,500 people there. I mean, we've done a lot of shows that were packed out, man. I mean, they were. I mean, there was hundreds and hundreds of people there, especially for Peach State down in Cordele, Georgia, for Ben Masters.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wrestled Kane before he became Kane. He was Isaac Yankum with Smoky Mountain Wrestling,
Yeah.
and before he became Unabomb and so forth. So that's when Bull Buchanan, he was, Bull Buchanan. I had been wrestling about a year or so, and then he come into North Georgia, and there was had a manager of Big Tex. He was Sunset Sam McGraw. We worked an angle for over a year, and man, no matter where we went, I put over his size. Say I may. It's out to him off the rope and told him, said, drop down, turn around, I'm going to give you a Frankenstein. He'd drop down, I'd jump up, give him a Frankensteiner. Well, a few minutes, 5 minutes later, after he's put me over, and I've out wrestled him. Well, now that we went to do the same thing, he dropped down. I jumped up for a Frankenstein, and he fired it into a big power bomb. Well, now he started his heat up. It fired me in the corner. I'd come out of the corner for a big press slam. It slammed me to the ground. I'd put over his size, but I mainly held the belt. Either I had it or he had it. One of the two of us had it, and we kept. I mean, for over a year, we went back and forth. They brought in a couple of other people. A guy named Blake at one time, but I suplexed him out on the floor one night, and he never come back. He just. I mean, he's like, oh man, my back, and they did make him champion when they should have made other people champion. They should have made like Colt Derringer. Colt Derringer would have made a good champion for them, and
Oh yeah, I remember Colt. I loved working with Colt. Yeah.
Colt was a great guy, man. That's he Coach Austin. He went undergone that stomach surgery, and heck, man, he's slim as I don't want to say slim as a rail, but that man's my man. That man lost 150 or 200 pounds. I mean, he's tall and slim, and if you seen him, you would not notice him.
I seen Rob Adonis the other night and didn't know who he was.
Really?
I wrestled
I've
Colt.
seen in the bullpen. I seen in the bullpen for Bull Buchanan. They got a show coming up here. There was in over there in Carrollton or somewhere, but now it's at Gold Dust Park in Villa Rica.
Yeah, it was up in Temple. They changed it because Scott East is running a show the night before in the same building.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Barry had come on there and was talking about having a discrepancy or something in the. They changed it to the to Gold Dust Park, I guess, the next night, because he said he wasn't running against the WWE in Atlanta, because I guess the following week or so their WWE scheduled to be in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think it's like the second week in July or something like that. They're up there. I think it's the 13th. They're in Atlanta.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to toot nobody's horn, but I mean, I took on a group of guys just like both of you and Death Row both. All of y'all probably had a group of guys, and when Randy Bearden was running shows, I literally would bring 5 or 6 talents down, and we'd go all the way to Tampa, Florida, Lakeland, Florida. We'd go to Knoxville, Tennessee. We'd start at the furthest junction and work our way back. And Rob Adonis will tell you that I trained him. Bull Buchanan, he used to, every time he'd come back into the dressing room, he'd come running back, and he was like, brother, I love you, man. I love you, because I made him, and I helped him look good. And then he got started in North Georgia, and he started doing some stuff with Rotten Ron Starr. And I believe if you talk to him now, I believe he would say that he was trained by Rotten Ron Starr, which is totally bogus, because he started out with Olin James and them over in Carrollton or in Bowden, Georgia, with Scott McCauley, which is Bulldog Reigns. And then myself and Ted Allen would come over and sit down with and show all of them different moves in wrestling, help polish them up in their training and so forth before they'd have a event on Saturday night. But then Jim Cornette, he fell in love with Barry Bull Buchanan's leg drop off the top rope. And he would, he just loved Barry, and Barry, he tried to give Barry a big push, but I think the things, Barry's size didn't hold him back. I think his mic skills probably is what held Barry back. He was in WWC or WWE or WWF, And for a year and a half or so, I know that he sat home, and long as the checks come in every Friday, he didn't care if he was at home or if he wasn't. So he said, but at the same time, you know, I mean, I don't think that. I mean, they give him what, two or three different. He was what, recon at one time. He come in. He was somebody's bodyguard. And he just, oh no, he come in. He started out with John Cena. John Cena come out with that big chain around his neck trying to rap, and John Cena could not rap. And Barry would just stand there beside him with his arms crossed and say like, "Yo," or say something. And then they went from when that didn't go over, they put him as like a Russian or somebody, and he was like recon. He did some type of military type gimmick.
That was the South African Truth Commission type thing.
Yeah, and
It was
then
him, it was Bull, Kurgan, and somebody else that I can't remember. But they were that was when the Nation of Domination, Gen X, and all of that started up. They had the biker gang with 8-ball and chains. They had Bull was part of the militant group, and then you had Farouk and Rock and all them were Nation of Domination. Oh, Ron Simmons,
yes.
and so they run that angle, and I think that actually being paired with Kurgan, Kurgan was never accepted by the public. They did not accept him. He was too goofy when he worked. He couldn't wrestle. Yeah.
Well, you
And
know
that
what?
hurt Bull a lot there.
You know, let me ask y'all just a question, and it's just y'all's own personal opinion. But in the WWE, you know, the WWE seems to have to change their name to World Wrestling Entertainment to Women's Wrestling Entertainment, because them women are having a hell of a lot better matches than them men are. And but I tell you that daggone Nia Jax, that's got to be the most untalented woman I've ever seen. And why are they giving her such a push for her to stand on the second rope and drop down and sit on somebody? I don't know. They made her queen. They made her heavyweight champion. But if you watch her matches, that woman, I mean, literally, I mean, I don't even think she can give her. I don't think she can give a suplex. I don't think she. I mean, she.
I want you to remember something. Hulk Hogan was the face of WWF.
Yeah, Arn Anderson told him, said, "Yeah, go to work up in New York. They like big guys that can't wrestle." That's what Arn Anderson told him back in WCW.
I'll be right back. Come on.
Yeah, but WWE, heck, if you wasn't 7 foot tall or 6 foot, 380 pounds, they wouldn't even talk to you.
Now, if you're over 6 foot tall, they don't want you.
Well, now they've done joined up with AAA. They've got AAA out there.
Actually, I think the AAA partnership is really good, because the wrestling that's going on now. I grew up. I lived in New Mexico as a kid, and I watched the AAA, and I watched all that kind of stuff down there. And I watched wrestling as a young child with my grandfather, but then I watching AAA and all that down there.
Yes, sir.
I enjoyed that because it was a lot of movement. I never understood the 2-hour headlock. I had to learn a little bit about wrestling to understand the 2-hour headlock matches. But I think that's a good partnership with them, because it's going to get AAA a lot of work. It's going to put a lot of people to work.
Yeah, well, the best thing that could have happened, in my opinion, was when The Rock took over or whatever. Well, even actually before The Rock took over, they started bringing in people like the Motor City Machine Guns, or they got AJ Styles. They're using people that are average sized men. They're not Lord Humongous, or they're not 6'5" or 7 foot, 380 something pounds. I mean, look at the little Japanese they got with the alpha males, or It was that with what was that boy? One that looks just like Kurt Angle. Look, he'd
Chad
pass for
Gable.
Kurt Angle.
Chad
Sir?
Gable.
Yeah, Chad Gable, man, he would pass as Kurt Angle's son using the same little ankle lock. And now he's doing the things he's doing. He's got great definition. He's got good size, but he's just not. Not now I believe he'll wind up being. I knew they wasn't going to make him champion over that champion that they had for AAA. That was champion for like 700 and something days. He was on there. Him and Chad Gable had a match this past Saturday or Saturday.
I saw it. I've been watching that guy now for a while. He
Man,
is very talented.
He's very talented, man. Not only could he wrestle, and it is fast. Luchadors, it's fast paced. It's fast paced. They've got great moves, and everything is off the ropes. Everything that has to do with a Hurricane Rana or a tilt-a-whirl or a moonsault or some type of diving over from the inside of the ring out onto the floor. It's all high risk moves. When those guys, I'm surprised Rey Mysterio still gets around like he does.
Well,
you ain't the only one. Rey
gotta
Mysterio's
remember-
been broke for a long time, and he's still going.
You got to remember the luchadors down there start training at about the same time we were discovering our first porno magazine about the age of 12 or younger.
Oh yeah,
They're training all the time. Most of them have been training for longer than they've been wrestling now.
oh
And
absolutely.
that stuff
Hey,
is a
I'm gonna bet you $1 to a donut that Rey Mysterio Jr. looks like Snooker when he walks through the daggone locker room.
yeah, he does.
Guarantee you. That Joker can't hardly move till that music starts playing. I'll guarantee it. I was there when Jericho took his knees, man. It's
True story.
that was a shoot. Jericho was trying to kill his contract so he'd go to WWF, and he shot and took Ray Ray's knees out to kill his contract so WCW would turn him loose.